Well, I'm just getting my voice back after seeing AC/DC in Minneapolis on their first show of the 2025 North American Power Up Tour. Now, I'm going to address the elephant in the room first. Brian Johnson sounded great. Now, this isn't the Brian Johnson of the 70s or the 80s or the 90s or even the early 2000s.
I was shaking at the knees. Could I come again, please? Yeah, them ladies were 2K. Too bad.
But our current Brian Johnson at 77 years young still does what we need him to do. Belted out for over 2 hours while doing justice to some of the best rock songs ever written. Angus Young, the miniature maniac we all came to see, is still bringing the heat and shredding his ass off. Of course, the headbanging isn't quite as wild as it was 20 or 30 years ago, but we're still getting the energy, the antics, and the schoolboy uniform we expect at an AC/DC show. The rhythm section of Stevie, Matt, and Chris sounded incredible. I understand it's the Angus and Brian show at this point, but those guys still deserve a lot of kudos, a lot of recognition, and it might be a minor point, but I wish they had more time on the big screen. All right, now on to the set list. AC/DC has so many all-time hits that it's hard to play around too much with the set list. But they did a good job at balancing classic standards like Back in Black, TNT, and Highway to Hell with newer songs like Demon Fire, Shot in the Dark, and Rock and Roll Train. I've always considered If You Want Blood to be a quintessential AC/DC song, so it was really cool to see that they've kept it as their opener for this tour. The deep cut I was most stoked to hear was definitely Riff Raff. And Stiff Upper Lip was special because that album and tour were my first introductions to the band. A few things that are missing from this tour. There's really not much in the way of stage production. In tours past, we've had the Wrecking Ball, the Angus statue, the Runaway Train, the giant inflatable Rosie, and there was none of that this time around. But of course, we still get a look at the Hell's Bell and get the full cannon salute at the end of the show. I don't think many people are missing the Angus Young striptease, but that's another thing they've done away with, and Angus actually kept his shirt on for the entire show. There were a couple of awkward moments in Minneapolis. Brian only had one shoe on for a couple of the songs, and the intro to Hell's Bells was played a little out of sync with the actual toll of the bell itself. But that's rock and roll. It's all live and without a net. I should also mention that the pop-up bar was an awesome experience. There were tons of cool photo ops, stage props, exclusive merch, and free AC/DC tattoos. In conclusion, if you're a fan of this band at all, I'm sure you already have your tickets and you are in for a treat. And if you're a general fan of rock music, this is one of the last chances you'll get to see some of the true living legends of rock royalty. Look, AC/DC has always offered a simple but powerful product, and they are still delivering it in 2025. No frills, no surprises, just 21 of the best guitar riffs and sing-along choruses ever written. Finally, and in the words of music journalist David Frick, some things in rock and roll never change. Some things never should. And some things have to be seen to be believed. That is everything you need to know about AC/DC.